Vegeta here. I just decided to stop by Input's Reviews channel in order to tell you that this video is intended for anyone over the age of 18. And if you don't like it, I don't care. Click that box, stop watching the video now, or you will have to face my wrath!
Woohoo! I won! I can't believe I won! Oh my god, I won! I won! I won! I won! I can't believe I won! Yes! Yes! Number one! Number one!
Sorry, kid. The, time traveler actually came in first.
That's the power of love.
Alright guys, now before we dig into the bot mode, let's take a look at his backdrop, shall we? Now just like the Jazz backdrop, it doesn't really want to sit forward at all. You do kind of have to kind of bend it up a little bit and do all that stuff. I do like the backdrop. I think these backdrops are really, really cool for the figure, for any studio series. But I kind of wish that maybe there were some kind of support or something right back here. Like this part should really kind of come all the way down, so that way it doesn't do its best Fat Joe impression of leaning back. So yeah, I do like the artwork on it. I do think it looks really, really cool. I like the Transformers the movie right here. I'm assuming that's on all of them, you know, so if you get like an Optimus Prime from like the 2007 live action, it says Transformers or Revenge of the Fallen or whatever, and this one just says Transformers the movie. So yeah, and look, we're already just by picking it up, we already got to kind of mess with it again to get it in place. But I think it looks really, really cool. The attack on Autobot City back here is renditioned really, really well. It's a beautiful art piece. I would love to see a book of all of these artworks done. That'd be really cool, like a Studio Series artwork book. That'd be cool. Alright. Bot mode. Boom! Man, it's Blurr. I mean, this is really, 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 really nice coloring and rendition of a G1 cartoon movie, let's say screen accurate Blurr. It's done extremely, extremely well. The chest here does flow down very nicely. There is some nice sculpted detail here that flows into each other. This does rotate for car mode, so you know, you just flip it around like that. So you can have like a different look for him if you want to. You can kind of flip it around like a communicator, like he's talking to somebody or something, and then maybe flip it back around. I think it's a neat little play feature that a kid might discover on his own or whatever. I think that's neat. But all the sculpted detail does end up lining up right here on the chest, which I think that's an additional detail that honestly they didn't have to do, because I don't think anybody would have noticed or cared if they didn't. But I like that. I think that looks really good. He does have his rifle, which is done really well as well, I think. The biggest, honestly, the only complaint that I have about the bot mode is two things. This is a nitpick. This can come off, his back part right here, his nose cone thing, but it can't really put it anywhere as a shield. You can't even really attach it to the gun in bot mode, because it just doesn't fit around his wrist area very well. So the shield from the toy, the original toy here, you can't do the shield thing with, which I think honestly is a bit of an oversight by the Takara designers and stuff. I really wish that that was implemented on some level. I know he never used it, but you know, little added details and stuff like that do kind of go a long way as homages and stuff, right? Just a little piece, maybe the little peg or something could have been a little bit longer or something to plug in to make the shield around the gun or something like that. But yeah, lack of shield. And normally I don't complain about hollowness on figures, but the hollowness on the arms I kind of want to talk about just to touch on just a little bit. So this hollow section right here where the joint goes into, I get that, I understand that. That should be hollow. As you can see, the joint goes into it. This section right here, I don't understand why it's hollow. Like the entire forearm, the entire arm is hollow. I don't understand that. And then this piece right here for his car mode is completely hollow. And it does absolutely nothing except for fold up. This is not here to make any kind of space or anything, or any kind of room or anything. Like it's just empty to be empty. I don't understand that. I really don't. Like the thighs here and stuff, that's whatever to me. But the entire arm, especially this section right here, I could get past this and I can look past this piece right here. But this section right here underneath the joint, I don't understand why at all. Like this part right here, I don't get it. I mean, yeah, you can argue, you know, to take the arm in and out and stuff, but you can kind of close that up. Yeah, I don't understand it. Those are my two nitpicks with the figures at the hollow arms. Now, I will say it's nowhere near as bad as Siege Impactor was. But as soon as there is a kit or something to fill that section in, I will definitely get it, or I might just print one myself or something just to fill in that spot. But yeah, I think other than that, I think the bot mode is done extremely, extremely well. And those two are honestly just nitpicks because they don't really show. The hollowness doesn't really show at all. So I guess this is the point where you guys want to know how he stacks up against his more modern interpretation. Titans Return, Blurr. And I gotta say, man, toy and screen accuracy here really does make them night and day. The one thing that the Blurr from Titans Return does have over the Studio 86 version is that he can use his nose cone as the shield, which, again, this is G1 toy accuracy, and that was a toy thing, but truthfully, they could have really done this over here as well. But I really, man, I can't tell you which one does the robot mode better because they both go for two different aesthetics here. Now, you could get the Takara version of the Titans Return one, and it's done in the 86 color scheme. But again, I don't think there's a wrong choice here. I think if you're looking for a Blurr, if you're looking for a screen accurate Blurr, then you can go with this one or the Takara one or whatever. But if you're just wanting a Blurr, there's no real wrong choice here, I feel like. They both nail it 100%. But yeah, man, like I said, there's no wrong answer. I am blown away by this Blurr. I love Blurr. And I was really, really excited for the 86 Blurr. But yeah. Well, guys, let's dig into his car mode and let's take a look at that. Alright, guys, let's take a look at his vehicle mode now. I really gotta say, they nailed the coloring layout of this vehicle mode. There's really, in terms of vehicle modes, there's really, in terms of G1 vehicle modes for Blurr, I should say, there's really not a whole lot that you can do. Now, there is some really, really cool transformation gimmicks here that I absolutely love that they didn't have to do, but they did, and it's just awesome. For instance, the seat right here folds up, right? So after you transform them from bot mode to vehicle mode, you just flip the seat up, boom. And this part right here is his chest in robot mode, and it just rotates around for his car mode. I love that. I think that's such a really, really cool engineering feat, you know, like an engineering idea for this guy. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now you can see there are some issues with the vehicle mode in terms of plastic choices. This color right here is definitely not this color here. This blue section is actually painted. So I don't understand why the difference in colored plastic here at all. I mean, it doesn't really bother me. It's just something I feel like is worth pointing out. His gun does attach to the front of his nose cone here via this slot right here on the gun and then this peg right here on his back. So just pushes forward just like that. Now, you can't fit anything in here. No Titan Master, no Spike, no Daniel, nothing like that. Which I think is a bit of a shame. But at this size, at this price point, you know, I really wouldn't expect that. But yeah, I absolutely love the way that this vehicle mode looks. Now, I will say there is something to look out for. When transforming him right here on the back of what becomes his knees, so his legs here have to open up and then collapse around his shins and stuff like that. Be really, really careful. As you can see, there is a stress mark on mine. That is my fault. 100% my fault. But be careful when you're trying to wrap everything around and get the pieces and components to move around each other. And be sure to pull like right up here when you're trying to pull it apart. Just pull from here and not here like that. Because I think that's what's caused that stress mark on mine, is me kind of pulling like this instead of like that. So yeah, be very, very careful. Just be forewarned that that is something that can happen. So yeah, what does he look like compared to, I guess, the biggest question here, his Titans Return version? I mean, honestly, they pretty much used the engineering from this guy onto this guy and just added a few little features and stuff. But I really honestly do like both of these figures. I mean, they're both Blurr, 100% Blurr. You do have the G1 cartoon coloring versus the G1 toy coloring here. But if you like this mold, you can get this mold in these colors if you don't like this version of Blurr. I really honestly, man, I don't really think either version does the alt mode better. I think they both nail it. Like I said earlier, there are some engineering points that I do absolutely like on this guy that aren't present on this guy, like the chest windshield spinning and the seat coming up. But I do like the fact that this guy is a car that you can put Titan Masters into and have them drive around in. So yeah, neither one is bad in my opinion. I don't think either one is better than the other one. So yeah, let's dig into final thoughts, guys. Alright guys, time for final thoughts. I gotta say, man, with everything that this Blurr figure does, it nails it. There is a lot of love and attention and everything put into the figure here, especially down to the yellow paint on the head crest, which that is something that very rarely gets seen at all nowadays, right? So I don't think there's a wrong choice here. Like I said earlier, you could go with either Blurr if you're just wanting a Blurr. But I am really, really, really smitten with this Blurr. The transformation scheme, the fact that the windshield rotates for his car mode, the seat folding down and stuff like that. There's little bitty attentions to detail in the transformation scheme here that I absolutely enjoy, and I think they did extremely well, knocked it out of the park with, right? The fact that he pretty much has the same engineering that this one has, but he has the head, but he has a head as well that you don't have to take off like that. Hasbro showed us what they could do when they didn't have a head getting in the way as far as Titan's Return goes. and their transformation schemes go. And I really like the fact that they adopted this engineering into this figure to really kind of show what they are capable of. And I absolutely love it. Like, I love this Blurr. It's done extremely well, except for the little nitpicks and stuff. Other than that, I would totally recommend this figure. If you guys need a Blurr, want a Blurr, like I said, there's no wrong way to go here. But if you want a tune-accurate Blurr, this one is the cheaper option out of this one and the Takara Legends version of that mold. So definitely a hard recommend on this Blurr figure. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I love all you guys out there. I'll see you next video. Stay safe. That's the most important thing. And as always, cut it out. Later, guys.
That's the power of love.